we might kind of not rush it, but try to get as much as we can in a little
Sure.
bit of time.
Well, that's more or less it's where I was born. You need that information?
Yeah, so I'll start off here
Okay.
by, let's see, so today's October the 17th of 2015. My name is Osmin Hernandez, and if you could just start off by stating your name.
My name is Esperanza, and I have a nickname, of course, a translation, Hope Padilla Ayala.
Okay. Alrighty, and so we could just talk about, your family. And,
I'm 86 years old, will be 87 in December of this year.
Okay.
So I can say I'm almost 87.
Okay.
And I was born and raised here on the north side. I was born right here in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And my husband's named Michael Ayala, and he's a graduate of Northside High School.
Okay.
And we have a family. We have a son, Carlos Ayala, married to Norma, and they have 5 girls, and a daughter named Dolores Ayala Rios, and her husband is Ramon Rios, and they have a family of 3. They have 2 girls and a son. And then my other daughter is Teresa Ayala Bruton, and she has a son. And all 3 are graduates of Diamond Hill Jarvis High School, and then went on to TCU. And Carlos was graduate of TCU, and he worked with the baseball department, helping out with his tuition, and graduate there. And he was with the Fort Worth ISD. He just retired from there. And my daughter Dolores, she was a teacher also, and she retired after 33 years with the Fort Worth ISD. And my daughter Teresa, she also went to TCU, and she's not retired. She's still working. She's with the airlines. She does contract work with the airlines. And her husband is Charles Bruton, and they have a son named Riley.
Okay.
So they're pretty busy, and I'm glad that they were able to get ahead with their education.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And now, so you said you're from the north. You were born in.
Yes, I was born, and I went to school at the old San Jose school, which is no longer there. It was a wooden place, and then they built a brick building, more modernized. But by then, I wasn't. I was married then, and I worked for the church for All Saints, because I attended I attended All Saints, which is in my days was Mount Carmel Academy. And we had nuns through all our school year. They no longer have, they have the lay people now teaching. And so I worked for the school and for the church for 33 years. And I retired from there. And my husband was able to put up with me. But I enjoyed working with the church because I was helping my community. When I started there, they had always had Anglos, and there was very few Hispanics, but we were trying to move in, and Father noticed that we were needing somebody that would speak Spanish. So he asked me if I would, my husband had talked to the priest and asked if they could use me. And he says, yes, I really could use her. So I started at the school, and then the church decided they wanted me at the church. And I enjoyed it there. I helped very many people. They were in need, especially the Spanish speaking. They were lost. Ay, no se entienden, And so I thoroughly enjoyed working there. Then was able to help my people and show them the way around and how they could be helped. There were some people that would approach me. They were already elderly. They were working. They had never had any information. They were from Mexico. And he says, we don't have any records. Is there any way you can request my baptism or something, certificate from the church in Mexico? And I says, well, I will try. And you should have seen that person. He was so overjoyed. He was already up in years, and he was going to retire from the packing house, Swifts. he was able to get his baptism certificate, which is proof that they recognize here as a record. Mm-hmm.
And how long did you do that for? How many years?
33 years. I worked 33 years.
Okay. And starting what year?
61 till 1994.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, okay. So you already touched on where you attended, and let's see here, and about a little bit about your parents and their what they did.
Oh, my mother, my dad was born in Mexico. He came from Silo, San Luis Potosí. And he said he was 12 years old when he came here. And it was during the revolution or something. That's the way he used to tell us. It was then at that time. And he worked little odd jobs here and there. And finally he was able to get to work at Swift and Company, which was better pay. And they would have vacation, and they could get insurance. And so we felt like, boy, we were really doing good. We were rich then. We thought we were rich, but we were making a living. And he worked there many years, and we enjoyed those years. And we acquired a telephone. We were the only ones that had a phone in the whole block. So they would get calls, and I would go and call them. I says, your boyfriend is calling you on the phone. And they would come over and talk to the person, or says, let him call you back and return your call. And I remember those days. You know, we thoroughly enjoyed that too. And also the neighborhood we were progressing, we were doing better. And I hope that this helps the youth of today, that there is progress and you can get ahead in life if you try. Mm-hmm.
All right. And let's see here. All right, and just talk about a little bit more about the community and social or political organizations that you were involved in.
I was involved. First of all, I was involved with the schools.
Okay.
I was involved when my children were in school at All Saints Catholic School. Okay. And I was a board member, and I was secretary in different positions where I was needed, and volunteer quite a bit because I was home for a while, and I would put my time in helping the school. We would put in benefits, carnivals, and things like that, and my husband and I worked together on that. Mm-hmm. And anything else? Oh, I volunteer with the Goodfellas, which is an organization that helps the children that are attending school at Christmas time. In fact, they've started already. It's at Catholic Charities. They have been at different places. They have been at the Metro School with ISD. They have been at different buildings with that program, the Goodfellas. It's put on by the Star Telegram, but it's under the direction of the Catholic Charities. And I volunteer there, interviewing, because also we have a lot of Hispanics that are coming in and checking their records to see if they have the correct information, and interviewing, processing their applications, and also helped in the United Way for many years, along with my husband. He was helping through the Postal Service, and I would help individually, calling from home the different names that they would give me to call and contact them and see if they were willing to help. And the schools, I helped the children, especially the Spanish-speaking, with their reading. And I helped at Helvin Elementary School, at Turner Elementary School, M.H. Moore Elementary School, and All Saints School, and different schools that would call me at any time they were in need. I would go and help them register children at school, helping with the registrations at the start of school, checking their records and see if they had everything that was needed, ready to sign up for the next school year. And I enjoyed that, volunteering with that. Help also with the senior citizens. It also helps a lot. And whatever's available, still help. My husband and I still volunteer quite a bit. We enjoy that. That's what we can do for our community. That's what it's for. Give and give. They gave us, now we'll give them.
All right. Now, just a little bit about the leaders of the organizations that you were involved with. Was there a particular person that you kind of looked up to?
Yes, usually on the schools, it was usually with the principals and the teacher, whatever teacher that was in need.
Okay.
I worked with several teachers at Helbin Elementary, and whatever school was in need, whatever they needed, I would try to help them. And there's always a need, especially with the schools.
And let's see here. I'm assuming Northside during that time period, we're talking about roughly from the 60s and on. How were relations there with, were there any relations with other ethnic groups like African Americans, or was it just mainly?
I worked with, when I was working at the church, we had two ladies that were working there at the church, and there was no problem. And I have always been around, African Americans, and we have had no problems. I take it as another human being coming around me. We have never had any problems. One time I rode the bus going to work, and I was working downtown part-time, and I sat on the bus and went to the back because seats were taken, so I went to the back. And this little lady that got on the bus was African American also, and she was standing, and I offered her the seat so she could sit there with me. And the bus suddenly stopped, and of course I didn't know what it was all about. And the driver came over, and he says, you have to sit in the back. And there was no room, so she just stood up. She didn't say anything. And I thought to myself, well, why can't she sit here? I mean, she's not bothering me. It's just another human being. He did ask her to stand up. Of course, he was Anglo, and that was back then. Mm-hmm. But I never did have any problems.
Mm-hmm. When was
This was in the 60s.
In the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Early 60s.
Okay.
Later part of, yes, early 60s. Mm-hmm. About 61, I went to back and work at the church. Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as relations with Anglos, how are they in?
The same way, no problem. We have friends, and still friends.
Okay.
Very good friends. People that have helped us. Mm-hmm. When I come into some kind of problem, call them. Oh yes, come on in anytime you need the help. My husband always says, "Uh-oh, you open the door." Mm-hmm. They said to come back if you need me. And there's always a need. Yeah. There comes a time when you need it.
Yeah. Now, is anything else that you wanted to share with us today?
Well, I want to thank you for having this program, which is nice because it really tells you about our times. In those days, they were hard times. Mm-hmm. We didn't have no push button machines, The washing machine was either the cupboard, or I remember I got one that had where you could spin the clothes, and a wringer, and no dryer. Yet my husband had strings all over the kitchen so I could hang the clothes. But now I'm enjoying that. We have a washer and a dryer. And I thoroughly enjoy it. But I hope this helps the tradition, because we have always had that closeness. We're a close-knit family. We have, just last night, we had a birthday party for my youngest daughter. We still get together, everybody, even the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. I have 9 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren, and we all get together, and we just look forward to birthdays. And we have family reunions. We used to have them every year, now we have them every 2 years. On our side, and my husband, they have theirs too. And we're a close-knit family. And I just hope that that continues. That's really what keeps a family together. And especially with the church functions, you know, stay active and help out, do your share. It's nice to do that. And you have better harmony.
Let's see here. Okay. Well, I did want to touch up a little bit on just on the like your experience in schools.
In schools.
When
When I attended high school, high school I went to Mount Carmel Academy.
Okay.
And it was an all, at first it was an all-girls school, but then they had some boys to come in. And there was no problem. We had like every school, had boys that liked to kid around, and you know, and of course the nuns didn't appreciate that, but those things that happen in school. But we got along, no problem. And we were active with the school also. I mean, I enjoyed I spoke the language, so there was no problem. And they wouldn't question me about my being Hispanic or Latino, whatever you have. There was no question in that. And we had all nuns there. And after at San Jose, where we were mostly Hispanics, all Latinos there, no problem. We had our good times and bad times. Of course, we didn't know about bad times because it was always, we thought everything was going to be that way, but it had come a long ways.
Now, were either of you guys involved with the American GI Forum or the League of United Latin American?
Now, I don't know about Iowa. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I heard about it, but I'm sure my husband would know more about that. Mike?
No, American Legion. That's the only one that I've ever been to. And of course, my wife was telling you about the certain times. Well, you had one while ago that was here, Antonio Ayala, and he was our godfather in our wedding. And he's 98 now, so he should be able to expound on a lot of these things that happened then and even later, and still now his mind is very clear.
Yes.
Did you interview him?
No.
He passed by here.
Okay.
I don't know who interviewed him.
You probably, I think.
Yes.
You probably were here when, yes.
All right.
Other than that, I had a good life with my wife. I'm glad she picked me for a partner.
66 years married.
Oh, wow.
We have been married 66 years. We're married
We
April
have no
24th.
qualms. We have no qualms about life. And anybody that tells you that they never had any problems, it's not telling the truth.
There's one all the time. But we have made it, you know.
Yeah.
There's been times when times are hard. I know when we had them in college, they were hard. But we made it. We stood by each other for 66 years.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find a stopping point here now. And let's see here. And let me, I'm going to have to fill this